What's good, everybody? DJ Jackromancer here, and welcome to another video. So, today I want to talk about what really exploded the tech world last week, and that is Valve's announcement of the Steam frame, the Steam machine, and the new Steam controller. As some of you know, or some of you don't know, if you're the first time coming to this channel, I do own the original Steam controller, the Steam Link, and the one of the Alienware Steam machines. I don't have the Steam Index, and it's not that I hate VR gaming. I actually like VR gaming, but I don't have a place that's like adequate space for it. But it was also, I never really found the Steam Index at the time at a comparable price around my area where I was willing to, like, jump the gun and grab the VR headset. But it is what it is. Let me first talk about controllers, because as you know, your boys definitely got some time about talking about controllers, and I kind of like what Valve did with this new Steam controller. It has the two touch pads just like the Steam Deck does on the controller, and can we say not Hall effect but TMR sticks? Yo, that was fire. So not only we're gonna get the touch pads, but we're gonna get some sticks that basically gonna last forever and you're not gonna get drift. But that's not the only thing that Valve did that I really liked on the Steam controller from what I'm seeing. The fact that it doesn't have two, it has 4 programmable buttons on the back. Basically, the Steam controller is a pro controller. I'm just worried that you might have to pay pro price for it. I'm hoping that it's priced at the same price as current console controllers, about around $69-70. I would love it to be cheaper than that, but I doubt it's going to be cheaper than that due to current things that are happening in the world and tariffs. So, yeah. So, controller might be pricey, but also worth it, because I know a lot of people didn't like the original Steam controller. I actually enjoyed it. It was a cool little take of trying to like figure out how you can get games that were not controller supported to work on a controller, and they thought of a cool thing. But this new controller blows everything out of the water. Like, I was gonna go pick up the Hori Steam controller, even though I do have probably one of the best controllers currently for the Steam Deck, but when that new Steam controller comes out, that's gonna blow it out the water. Stay tuned. I'll do a video on what I think is the best controller that you can buy right now for your Steam Deck or PC handhelds that won't break the bank. But anyways, let's move to the Steam machine. So the Steam machine, I like what they're going for, and I like that they're going for customization and everything. And I know a lot of people are kind of like, the specs seem lackluster, but I've been watching a lot of other people's content, and one person made the point of that Valve, they do these Steam surveys every year, and they see what the average gamer that has Steam uses, and they can see that a lot of people are using 6-core processors, and they might got like a 8 gig VRAM GPU. And some people, if they're not content creators like me, where they got overkill with regular RAM, 16 gigs of RAM is fine if all you're doing is gaming. And I like the fact that they kind of saying like, hey, yes, we're building this to be more powerful than the Steam Deck, but this is still a PC. Like, yes, you can use it like with SteamOS, or you can put Windows on it and it's still a PC. I kind of like that this is going to be in a way, like a really nice home theater PC. And Valve is trying to go for not only gamers, but like people that really just want a device in their living room. That's really what it is. Like, technically, the Steam Deck can be a device for your living room, but like they said, some people have complained that it's like, dude, it'd be nice if we can get what we can get on the deck, but in higher resolution. So they came out with it. And I know that there's a lot of people that are testing right now, and I've seen some people's videos, and some people's videos are like, okay, dude, you're testing the hardware, but not in the right environment, because some people are testing the hardware, but not refusing to put some form of Linux on it, and they're just testing on Windows, because what all the Linux heads, me included, will tell you that since you don't have a lot of that Windows overhead and all that, what they claim of what you can do with 8 gigs of VRAM and get 4K 60 with FSR, I think that actually might be doable. Just because of how SteamOS and a lot of the other similar OSes like Bazite and Nobara work, it doesn't use as much resources. So I think, in essence, what Valve is saying will happen and will be reign true. Now, I know there's some people like myself that want native, and therefore you need to have a more beefier GPU. But I also understand what Valve is going for. This is a living room device, not your main rig device, if you get what I'm saying here. Like, if you're a diehard gamer, you're probably going to build a rig and all that stuff and all that. But this is supposed to be a living room device, which a lot of people are saying, oh, in a way, this is a console. No, it's still a PC. It's just, it's got the perfect form factor to chill in your living room. And yeah, I would definitely agree with that, because have y'all seen a PS5 and an Xbox Series X? Them things are huge. I'm like, oh my God. What happened to small form factor that can fit like very decently in a living room? But yes, it's kind of fits in a living room, but it's still big. But seeing the size of the new Steam machine, I'm like, okay, I see what Valve is going for. I like the fact that you can customize the front panel, because if you're like a family of like 4 or 6 or however large the family is, if you have multiple devices, you can customize the devices to, you know, that way you know whose is who and all that. I like that idea. And I understand what Valve is saying about, unlike the Steam Deck, this Steam machine is not going to be subsidized. Now, do I got a dream target for it? Yes, I do have a dream target for it. My dream target is $500 to $600. I think that would be an ideal price for the device to be. But I also know what is going on in the tech world. Right now, there's a RAM shortage that's going on, and a lot of companies are kind of like trying to wait to figure out, do they need to produce more or just hang back? Because they understand that what we're going through right now in this AI bubble, and it is a bubble, that it's probably going to die soon, and they don't want to like overproduce to the point where it's like, all right, they're not going to get their money back, but they're also don't want to kind of like hang back too long to not have enough for the demand that's out there. So that's gonna drive the price a little bit, especially if Valve is, mass producing these units. And then the other thing that's going on, I mentioned it earlier, is tariffs. So as much as I would like this device to be about around the comparable $500 to $600 PC range, we're gonna just add 200 to it, and let's say it's gonna be more like a $700, $800 range device, which kind of sucks because I feel like some people, they will run out and get it no matter what, but some people will also look at that, but like, at that price I can build my own, or I can find a used device that has similar specs for cheaper and go ahead and build out a Steam machine that way, which, yeah, you have options. And as you know me, one of my things where I started with these cheap controllers for your PCs and your handhelds was you have options. You don't have to be locked into just Xbox or just PlayStation. You have options for other controllers. So I feel like it's the same way with the Steam machine. Now, like I said, I own the original Valve devices. So at some point, maybe not during release, unless Valve send me a test unit. Valve, if you watch this video, please send me a test unit. I would love the beta test unit. But unless I get a test unit and all that, I'll probably eventually get one when it prices and the hype go down and everything. That's what I did with my Steam Deck. I didn't buy my Steam Deck during the initial launch. I bought my Steam Deck right before. It was like maybe a couple months right before they announced the OLED version. So I got my device for a pretty affordable price. And you could do the same thing. It's just a matter of, can you wait or not? And like I also said, there's a lot of options out there. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I've been seeing a lot of the old Alienware X51s for sale. They were like Alienware's version of a console PC back in the day. Now, spec wise with those, they only got a 4-core CPU, so not really that good for modern gaming, but a part of me still wants to get one and slap like a decent GPU to put SteamOS on it, just to be like, hey, this is my indie gaming machine, and that's all I do on it. I also been in the looks for the MSI Trident 3, which has got better modern specs, but I'm trying to find one that's around the that got like the 8000 series processors. So something that's modern, but not too modern, that I can get at a decent price and, do the same thing. So let's take the NVIDIA GPU, or keep the NVIDIA GPU, but slap in the AMD GPU and make it my Steam box. There's options out there. You don't have to get the Valve Steam machine if you don't want to. There's so much tech out there that needs to be converted and recycled to a different purpose. You can definitely make your own Steam machine. But I also understand those that just want to buy it and go. I have a friend, he says it himself, he's impulsive. He doesn't like to wait. He just wants to buy it in all in one package and go. So I understand the need for those people as well. So I'm just putting the options out there. Now, let's talk about the frame, because the frame is interesting, and I'm going to explain why it's interesting. Now, even though I don't own a VR headset, when I used to go to university, I got to play around with a lot of the different VR headsets, the HTC Vive, Microsoft Smart Glass, the Samsung. So even though I don't own any VR hardware, I did get to play around with a lot of VR handware extensively. And seeing the frame has its own like independent ARM processor, which is like, whoa, it's ARM based? Okay, that's cool. And it still runs Steam games, which tells me like Steam possibly got Proton running well for ARM, which means people with the newer Mac devices, like I have one that I do content with, that I'm recording this on right now, the M1 Mac Mini. That's an ARM based processor. So does that say that Steam has figured out how to put Proton layer on ARM processors? Because if so, and it runs well, that means ARM is also a viable option for gaming now, which is crazy. But what also trips me out is the sensors in the frame. So like in the past, stuff like the Vive and the HoloGlass and all that, you had your headset and you had your controllers, but you had to set up the room where the sensors were mounted like in the corners and all of that stuff. So it was external sensors that worked with the VR headset to make sure that it got your motion and all that correctly. Seeing that the frame has sensors built into the device where it could detect your head movement and all that and your motion sense, that is crazy and also fantastic. It's like, wow, everything is on this little device, and all you have to do is pair your controller and all that stuff, and that's great. Oh man, that actually reminds me of something. I need to go back to the Steam controller just for a second. So the one thing that, and I think I said it in one of my controller videos, that I talk shit about all the time, is I love these other manufacturers and what they do with their controllers. However, I wish their Bluetooth dongles or their RF dongles would support more than one device. And this is where Microsoft shines, because their Xbox controller RF adapter can support up to 8 controllers in one time. That Steam controller puck can support up to 4 controllers. It's not 8, but still 4 controllers off of one puck. Thank you. Valve has been going out there listening to people, and they're like, all right, we can't do 8, but we can do 4 and make it to where it's not laggy and good support and feedback all in the controller. I'm like, you know what? That's really all you need, because think about it. You buy a puck, you have a Steam controller or 2, or buy 4 Steam controllers, but just one puck or 2 pucks to like charge 2 at a time. But with that, you can get a whole party of people just off of 1 or 2 pucks. And I think that's great. And I think they said it will support up to 16 when you daisy chain multiple pucks. So what's that, 4 pucks? I think that's fantastic. How many games you know out there that support 16 people? I mean, maybe Super Bomberman, but yeah, I feel like that's all you need. And the fact that they are listening is like, all right, we need to make sure that our dongles can handle multiple controllers. I think that's great, which to me, they're kind of putting some of these other controller manufacturers on notice, like, hey, y'all need to do this with your device, your dongles. And I agree. I've made a video about it. It's like, hey, make your dongles support more than 1 controller. I don't even care if it supports 2 controllers. So let's make it to where it's like, all right, if I'm a person that is buying multiple controllers from you all, make it to where I can put one of the dongles away, just in case I lose one, even though I probably won't lose it, and be able to use multiple controllers on that one dongle instead of like, okay, I gotta plug in this one, now I gotta plug in this one, and just the thing, don't plug them both side by side. You gotta plug one in one port and then find another port that's kind of like in between that port, so that way they don't interfere with signal. It's a thing. If anybody has done controller videos or tried to plug up a lot of controllers into one device and try to use multiple controllers, yeah, they bump into Bluetooth single and RS signals, and it's not fun. So the fact that Valve has thought about it makes me happy. All right, enough about Valve and everything. Even though I'm not gonna lie, I am interested in that Steam Frame 2 now, but I gotta worry that that Steam Frame is about to be the same price as that Apple headset. It's gonna be like 1,000 plus. It's got too much good tech in it that it's not gonna be an affordable device. Now I could be wrong. They might make it like something like $600 or $700. If they do, it'll be on my radar. I'll still wait for a deal though. Like, I'm not gonna fork out 700 straight out, okay? But it'll be on my radar to see what we can do to get the frame. Now, in other news, I gotta talk about the faux that's called the Game Awards. Now, I did watch a couple of people talk about it, Maximilian, Alana Pierce, and all that, and I agree with some people, especially Alana, because Alana made a good point. It's like, if you really care about awards, you'll watch like DICE awards and all that, and you just watch the Game Awards for the trailers. And to be honest, that is what I do. The last couple of years, like, don't get me wrong, I try to make a fun game of it when I stream it, and I try to guess what they've picked. But at the same token, it's like, yeah, what do I watch it for? Do I watch it for the actual nominees and awards? No, I watch it for the game trailers. Or I watch it for the game trailers and to see what games that I need to be putting on my wish list. So later on, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that game. That was on the Game Awards. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and play that. There you go. That's how I watch the Game Awards for. I know that a lot of fighting game heads right now are really pissed off because the nominees for Best Fighting Game of the Year, there's really one true nominee, and everything else is either, okay, 2XKO is early access, so it shouldn't actually be in there, but it's in there. And then the rest of the games are collection. Capcom Fighting Collection, Mortal Kombat Collection. And it's like, okay, these are collections of old games that got re-released. Should they really be in nomination? No, they shouldn't. So the only one, and then Virtual Fighters in there, which is an update to an older game. So the only one that's actually should be nominated is City of the Wolves. But you know what? I'm going to say something. You know, I've been watching the Game Awards for a while. This is not the first time they screwed SNK like this. If SNK does not get the reward this year, I feel like they got a conspiracy against SNK, because I remember back when KOF 13 came out, and it was kind of like the same ordeal. It was like, it was the only like new game that really came out that year, and all the other games were kind of like older games, and it did not get the nomination. So it is what it is. But in essence, what I'm telling you is, don't watch the Game Awards for the award ceremony. Watch it because you want to discover new games and watch cool game trailers and add them to your wish list, because as Alana will tell you, and a couple other people will tell you, these people, they do not talk to each other about how they want to put the nominees and the, what gets best game and all that stuff. It's bad. Let's just say it. It's bad. So with that, might as well just take it for what it is and just watch the Game Awards to enjoy what's out, what's to come, and what games that you enjoy and add them to your list. Because even at the end of the day, and I'm going to say this, there's been some games that got Game of the Year that I felt like it didn't need Game of the Year. And then I watched like other people and they're like, yeah, man, why did this game get Game of the Year? Don't let these nominations and all that stuff get you out of a pickle. Just focus on what you like, what you enjoy, what do you see that's coming out soon that you might want to play, and focus on the Game Awards that way. Don't get in flame wars over, yo, they nominated this, why didn't they nominate this? This is the best game. You know what? Everything is subjective, especially since a lot of us have different tastes. Like, I'm a fighting game head, but I'm also a big RPG fan, but I'm also an action and adventure guy. Whereas some people don't play any of that and they just play cozy games. So everybody's test is subjective, you know. There's some people, all they play is PvP games. So they might have a different taste than what you have with single player experience versus somebody else that doesn't crave action like that, but does like playing games and they like doing the cozy stuff. Everybody is different. So just don't. Just don't. But anyways, so yeah, that is it for me, guys. Go ahead and give me a like if you like this video. If you don't, I'm not gonna hurt you. Until next time, guys. Peace, love, and stay gaming, my friends.